Welcome back. March 3rd, 2009, a day I'll never forget. I had an interview, and this is what happened after the interview. This is what I wrote to the committee when I left the interview, knowing in my mind that I'd responded worse in this interview than I'd ever done in any previous interview in my life. There are two things that I'm writing to you about. As an officer, when I speak to the community, whether individually or in groups, I always go back to readdress the issue, especially if I feel like I left it without a sense of complete clarity. This letter that I'm writing is an attempt to clarify as to why it was so difficult for me to answer the question that you posed to me. Who has had the greatest impact on your life and in your career? When I finished answering the question, I felt like I was left with a complete sense of having no justice done as to the question as far as it related to my life. The second question that I would like to give clarity to is, do you have the desire to move up? It is my desire and my hope to give clarity to these two questions that were addressed to me during the interview. I waited to send you this letter because I'm sure that you've made your decision on the award winners by now, and I did not want to give you any reason at all in any way, shape, or form whatsoever to think that I was trying to affect your decisions or anything of that nature. It is simply a letter of clarity, hopefully, just as I would give to any other group in the community. Understand, please forgive any grammatical errors in this letter. It was written in haste and proofread by a teenager who was watching television, working on her computer, listening to her iPod, eating ice cream, and talking to her brother all at the same time. Teenagers, imagine. Normally, I would go back and speak with the individual, but from reading about each one of you and your contributions to the community, it would be this time next year before I would be able to meet with you. That is, if I were even able to meet with you at all. Who has had the greatest impact on my life and in my career? My mother. My mother, who taught me the brilliance of the third little pig. She taught me about the wise old owl who sat in an oak. The more he saw, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. And how important it is to be like that wise old bird. She taught me about kindness and gentleness and how to stretch a dollar halfway across the universe. My mother. She taught me that if something has been, or if it can be made, then I can make it too. She taught me how to teach others that if I lose a finger, there's still joy in celebrating that I still have a hand. She taught me to teach others that if they lose their arms, to still celebrate the fact that they can still walk, because many can't. 17 pages later, I finished. And 10 years ago that